Comet. Alright, up here along my frame rail is where the motor mount, or not the motor mount, the frame rail is kissing the header. I think I can fix that with a hammer. I thought I was going to have to do something more extensive with some welding. If we go up top, I've got 2 bolts in it. And it's just not allowing it to pull up to the head. And there we go. So yeah, it's sticking out from the head right here. So if that were massaged inward, I had been thinking something along the lines of cutting out a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch here. You know, like 10 millimeters, maybe 9 millimeters right here. Yeah. But doing that, here, let's go back down there. With it pushed to the left like that, you can see that it is actually hitting the bell housing right there. So this side's got a really tight room of area to work. So I've got to kind of make it work. Yeah. I also need to bend it down a little bit. One of these was sticking up higher than the other, and I wanted to get it in the car before I bent one of them because I didn't know which one was right. This one's kissing the frame rail, so it's definitely going to need to come down some and probably over. Well, definitely over, because when I push that top in, it's going to make it want to go this way even more. So, All right, as you can see, we are now almost flush. I was able to tighten these up and get that to flush up pretty well. Even though we're still rammed into the rail here. It'll be real obvious where I need to do it though. So, and then that one, after I knock this one in, it might be awfully close, but they'll probably both be the same closeness. What's cool is that now that I have that top flange tightened, I am clearing on the bell housing, which would make sense since this is an LS header. It should clear an LS bell housing. So the other side, I am going to have to cut the flange, and I do have room to do that, so I'm going to do it. And I'll pull it closer. The bell housing's smaller on this side, so it can get closer to the bell housing, and I'm going to utilize that. This side, well, I got to deal with what I got to deal with. I've also got the problem, I still need to push this down to get it away from the frame rail, and I'll probably do it while it's bolted up now before I pull it back off. And then it won't be touching this frame rail anymore once it's down some, so that'll be good. All right, okay, let's see if I can bend this down or not. All right, 2-inch square tubing in there. Pull. Okay, let's get over and see how it looks. That was an amazing amount of work. For nothing, it's still wedged against that frame rail. And then the oxygen sensor goes right into the frame rail here. That might require a cut. Yeah, so be it. It was worth a shot. That seemed like it would work, but I guess not. So, I need somewhere straight to do this. The square part isn't helping at all. Yeah. Actually, I want it a little bit farther down than that, but that might be just fine. Yeah, it'll give me a good pivot point because that's going to get wider right there. As long as I can get the tool close enough to the head to get there, that's where I'll cut it. If I have to be back a little farther, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it on the far side of the yellow line, but anyways. I can see that this one's opened up a lot. This one's a little bit. I'm going to get under there and try and bend it. It should flex right at the thin point at the bottom of each of these pipes. So, yeah, I did a great job on each of these. So, all I really need it to do is come off this frame rail and not go so far that it runs into the bell housing. Although, if it does run into the bell housing, at this point I'm going to grind the bell housing out of its way. So, maybe I'll just go until it presses against the bell housing, weld it up, pull it off, grind the bell housing, put it back, call it done. Because it's easier to grind off the bell housing than it is the frame rail. Alright, that doesn't look like hardly anything up here, which is what I was going for. This will be easy enough to close that gap with the welder. But it's off the frame rail here. Almost just like the tip of the screwdriver. Maybe 1/10 of an inch. Not much. But it is off and it's pressed against the bell housing. So I can mark the spot on the bell housing where I want to grind, and I can get under there with a grinder, flap disc, whatever, and just hog out that one spot to clear the headers. I'm actually quite thrilled with this. So while this is all in place, I'm going to get the welder. We're going to make some tacks, try and do it in the biggest spot. Then I can unbolt it and weld it up. Actually, I should snug these back down some more. Alright. Still got that gap. Somewhat. So now if the engine wiggles enough somehow to be a problem here, that's an amount I would be willing to hammer. It's not touching anything currently, I just need to give it, but when I have to pound half the pipe in, at the very, they did a dyno test and proved that it doesn't hurt, but it hurts my soul, and it's gonna change the sound. It definitely changed the sound for them, and I don't want that. So smaller, thinner primaries would have been a good option if I were having custom headers made, but I'm not. So there we go. And short tube headers are another option, but I hate short tube headers. I love long tube. The only thing short tube headers are good for is looking like you got headers and reducing the weight over cast iron exhaust manifolds. Or if you got really badly designed exhaust manifolds. Anyways, let me weld these up real quick. Okay, I'm just going to start filming some video and we're going to start working. I've got to unhook the ground on the battery so that I can put the headers in without worrying about shorting stuff. I was thinking about it and I left the paper towels are still in the exhaust ports. Alright. Okay, we've got the ground undone. Gonna need an exhaust manifold gasket, so let's track that down. So we got the thick exhaust manifold gaskets, which we are totally gonna need with headers. Oops. I was afraid I was gonna have MLS gaskets. That's not the case. And it's got hooks, so I can get this in there after I get the front and rear started. That'll be handy. Okay, I'm going to take this ring off, put it somewhere I won't lose it. She's a beauty. Anti-seize. And you guys know how much I love my anti-seize. So let's grab the bolts. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So, okay, I found 4 down there. 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. So I'm missing 1 I'm going to have to come up with. Alright. There's 2 that are gooped up and ready to start. Okay, gasket goes like this. So let's try and get maybe I just got it on the wrong side. Let's try this. Yeah, there we go. Now it just drops down. Okay, so let's get the front and the rear started, and then we can go from there. I'll pull these headers back. Oh, come on. My welding looks like utter trash on here, and I don't care. They're going on anyways. I could have ground them up, cleaned them up. I still could pull them back off and do that. Right now I just want to get my first start. Me, but come on. About ready to cut that frame rail out. It's getting in my way. Alright, where's my safety glasses? I wasn't kidding about that frame rail. We'll be right back. Yeah, little notch in the frame rail. This is the crappy frame rail that I need to replace because it's all rusted out anyways. So, little notch, and we got that back bolt on. Here we go. Now we can goop up some more of these. We don't want these to seize into the heads like the original bolts did. There we go. I did not check to see if this flange is flat. It's a good chance it's not, especially after all the heat I put into it, welding near it. But, and the fact that it's used. But, like I said, things may be temporary here. We'll see. I'll spare you guys watching me, ratchet. Well, yeah. Okay. It's tight. Cool. The header clears. That notch in the frame rail is actually perfect. I don't know. The whole frame rail needs to be scooted over because the ones that go down the floor are actually farther inboard than these. So, they do me no good there. Headers are on. Yes, those are my ugly welds that I didn't bother to clean up. Sue me. It clears everything down there. Got the spark plug wires back on. I probably need some heat shielding for them, but they're, you know, there's a good, I don't know, 1/4 inch there. Quite a bit more here. I think that's the closest one. All of these, because I bent this down, I've got more clearance than it would have had originally. So, at least there's that. As I recall from the last time I tried to stand this up, it hits all kinds of things over here. So let's just go ahead and try and get back in. Okay, so yeah, it's about just the frame rail again. I guess I kind of want to do the same thing I did on the other side with a cut all the way across these and then bend it until it clears. I got a lot more room with the transmission this time, so might just open this up a lot more. These stones, so I can cut this thing in place. Yeah, I guess I do. At least this one. Here's that one. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Not as hard as it looked. Okay. So what I want to do is I want a fresh disc cut across all of these, then bolt those tight. I'm going to grab that ratchet. Alright. Okay, so we got some tension up against it. Yeah, this is going to be my best option. Fold that up. I'm going to have about that much gap in this pie cut here, if not more, because I also want it away from my frame rail. And let's see how it looks on my driver's floor. Okay, this was the lower one that sat lower, so it's not up against my floorboards like the other one was. I don't know what the deal was with that, but yeah, this is down where I'd like it to be. So it'll pull it closer. No, it'll actually push it away from my frame rail when I do this. Okay, let's go get the cutter and cut back to you guys when I'm done. Yeah, got it cut now. So what we got to do is pull the flange up snug, and then I got to pry a little bit. Okay, they're flush up against the heads now. There we go. So that's the gap that I've got, and I'm just gonna frickin' gap weld it. Like you saw on the other side, it looks like crap, but it's what I gotta do. And no, I'm not using stainless wire on these stainless headers. I am a bad man. Don't care. I'm gonna get into the driver's area and I'm gonna pry this a little bit more that way, or I might have to do it from here, but I need it up off this frame rail, and I don't care if it makes the gap even bigger. We're just gonna send it. You know, another option would be to just, cut it, at a straight angle from here and then pull it in closer. But I think I'm okay with this route. It's going to be ugly, but it's not going to be any less ugly if I do that, because I'm not that good at welding. Okay, it's good and flexible. It just doesn't want to stay flexed. Okay. This pipe right here. Yeah. I need the head of this between it and the top of the frame rail. So, this part? Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm gonna go grab a pry bar, pry on that one. Alright, let's see if I can just get it with my feet. Okay, here we go.
Hi.
Is it wedged?
Yeah.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, it's just something I could not do by myself.
Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah, this place is yeah.
Oh yes. Boy, howdy is that big gap.
I shoved it in.
Yep. That's what we got to do. And it clears the bell housing a lot better on this side because there's no starter over here. This gap is so huge that I went ahead and I went up to my sheet metal. I got 20 gauge sheet metal and I cut a strip. And I guessed the width just right. And I'm gonna tack it in at this end, and we'll go from there. I've never had much luck with sheet metal shears, but I managed to cut this strip today, so that was cool. I'm gonna try and put a tack right there in the center. We'll see how that goes. And I'll do one on this side. Yeah, I'll just do one on this side. Not a beautiful weld, but it's a weld. Okay, that's all four. I can unbolt it from the car and weld it on the floor now. I might cut a few more strips for closing the rest of that gap. We'll see. Just keep in mind, those are not stainless steel strips. So, for using this, I want to thank channel SquareMax Customs, because I had no hope in these things. I'd tried them several times in the past and I never would cut. He insisted they work right, so I set it out of my toolbox that I've had for 20 years, and I proceeded to start cutting away, and it worked. It's the first time it's ever worked for me. Granted, I have a whole 4 foot by 4 foot sheet of 20 gauge, but it worked, and SquareMax Customs told me to try. Well, told everybody to try. All right, the headers are done and they're cooling. So while those are cooling, I'm going to work on my 3-inch pipe into my cherry bombs. And so first I'm going to cut off this part where it goes down in size. And then I'm going to weld the ring to it. And then, I'll cut the flare off the end. I'll cut it about, 6 inches back. And then I'll do it again. And then we'll weld the rings to it. And then we'll find a way to... What in the world? Yeah, we'll find a way to make them fit. It's just stupid. Stupid things. These are not... It's like they want me to flange mount it, which is not going to be near as strong. Whatever. The goal is to get all this cutting and welding done tonight. So tomorrow during the daytime when I've got my toddler, I don't have to do any cutting or welding. We'll see how well that works out. Oh. Well, that was not a nice square cut, but whatever. Yeah, same length. I nailed it. Got 2 equal length pieces cut off. And let's see. Yeah. So they're not as square as I'd quite like, but they'll do. Anyways. Alrighty. Alright. It's closed. That's penetration. Fantastic. Next. Alrighty. That one's done too. Next up, to get them into the pipes. Alright, so what I did was I cut some slits in here. I don't know if my camera cut out before I was hammering away on the... so I cut some slits, 4 slits, and then I hammered it down, and then I pounded it in. And I just got done grinding the powder coat off. And we're ready to start welding again. So this will be the final welding of the night, and I can finally be done. Spend a little time out here, make sure nothing's burning. Should be fine. But I like to do that before I go inside. It's certainly smoky in this garage. Alright. Alright, that one's done. Next. Ta-da!